Hi guys, it's me, Mathilda, obviously, and hi! I hope you're having this bit of a great day. I am, thank you. Anyway, so today I'm going to do a long video, or I believe that it's going to be a long video, so buckle down, take a cup of water, tea, whatever, make yourself cozy, because today I'm going to talk about everything regarding transitioning from start to finish, and I'm going to try to cover it all in one single video. That's what I'm going to do today. If you're new here, my name is Mathilda. I'm transgender, which means that I was born a male and then I ended up transitioning into the woman I am today, so hi. But as I said, this is going to be a long video, so let's just get into it. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, you know how it works, and also don't forget to follow me on my socials. Yes, but now let's get into this video. But before we get into this video, I just want to let you know that this video is actually sponsored by Catch Beauty. And if you're not familiar with Catch Beauty, they mostly sell IPL machines, or they sell other things too, but what I like is that they sell IPL machines. And if you're not really entirely sure what that is, an IPL machine is this little thing right here, and it helps you remove your facial hair or body hair permanently. Yes. That's what an IPL machine is for. But I have collaborated with them on many occasions because I love them. But I'm going to talk about them further into this video. I just want to let you know that this video is a partnership with them, and if you want one, just click the link in my description box or the top comment and you will find yourself to their website. So yeah, that's the tea on that. But let's just move into this video where I'm going to talk about everything regarding transitioning. So yeah, it started raining. Like, why? And I have everything on my phone, all of the points that I'm going to cover in this video, and there are many points. But the first thing about transitioning, and that is realizing you're transgender. How do you even come up to the conclusion that you are trans? For me, I watched a documentary at the age of 15, and it just hit me.
I'm trans.
Realizing you are trans is it's a pretty big deal. You go through your life not really knowing where you fit in, not really knowing yourself. I remember when I was like 3 years old, or my family has told me that I wanted Barbies, I wanted to play with girls, and I remember when I was like 5-6 years old and I started school, and I was just like I was so jealous of all the other girls. I wanted to be them. I wanted to look like them. I surrounded myself with like friends that were girls. The older I got, the more intense the feelings got. When I hit puberty, like my gender dysphoria, as it's called, was really worsening. I didn't really understand the feelings that I had, but when I watched a documentary about transgender people, like it hit me straight away. That is what I was, or like that is what I wanted to do. It can be, as I said, pretty intense. Or for me, I walked around with those feelings for such a long time that when I watched the documentary, like straight away after it ended, I went downstairs, I told my mom that I wanted to transition, and she was so supportive right away. I think she'd always knew that something was like off with me, if you can put it that way. So she helped me right away. And that brings me to the next point that I want to talk about, and that is deciding to transition and coming out to your close ones. So deciding to transition is a pretty big deal. It really depends on who you are and what age you're at. So for me, when I watched the documentary at the age of 15, I had always kind of known that I was trans. I had never really been happy, so for me, I just like straight away felt the need to transition in order to be happy, and I've never been happier now. It was the right choice for me, but it really depends on who you are. If you want to transition straight away, or if you want to take a few months, years before you get yourself into it. Coming out to at least 1 or 2 people before transitioning is recommended. I told my mom, and then I kept it a secret for around a year before I started telling people around me, like my friends and so. And then I started to tell my family members, and they were all very supportive. So it's personal. You decide, but it is pretty much recommended to at least have one person before transitioning so you can have someone to rely on. And if you're under the age of 18, you need your parents' consent in order to start, hormone replacement therapy and all of that. So that's why I told my mom. But yeah, that brings me to the third point, and that is your mindset. Transitioning is hard. It's overwhelming at times. It's important to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to just start transitioning and you're going to see all of these changes. You need to have yourself a support group. You need to talk to a professional. HRT takes a long time, so it's important to have the right mindset. Set goals to yourself. Just take it one step at a time. Don't rush through it. Just breathe. When I started my transitioning here in Sweden, it's a pretty lengthy process. I didn't start my HRT until I was 18, and I started talking to a therapist at the age of 15. So it's really important to, take it one step at a time and just chill and be patient. That is my third tip. Shh. Anyways. But step number 4, point number 4, tip number 4, whatever you want to call it, find yourself a gender therapist and a support group. Finding yourself a gender therapist is pretty much the most important step in all of your transitioning. Without getting yourself a gender therapist, you can't talk to the professional that you need. You can't get yourself on hormones or surgeries or anything like that. You need to talk to a gender therapist. If you're not sure how to find one or where to find one, just Google gender therapist and get yourself an appointment and then talk to them. Tell them your goals, what you want to do, and they can let you know how you're going to do it. So that's the most important step, but it's also important to find yourself a support group. It can be friends, family, other transgender people online, on forums and so on. Finding yourself a support group and finding yourself a gender therapist is pretty much equally as important. So yeah, number 5 is transitioning. What do you want? What do you want? No, but honestly, it's really important to set up goals. Not every single person's transition is the same as, mine or yours or any other person's. Every person's transition is different. To make it easy for myself, I'm going to talk about my own transitioning and what I did. So for me, I wanted to do it all. I wanted to have all of the surgeries and I wanted to go on HRT, go through it all and transitioning everything, change names, just live as Mathilda. I knew that is the person that I was, and I've never looked back since. And for you might not even be interested in having the hormone replacement therapy or, the gender reassignment surgery. It's really up to you. So know what you want with your own transitioning. That is what I'm saying. It's important to know what you're looking for in regards to transitioning. So yeah, that is step number 5. Let's move on to step number 6. And that is HRT, which stands for hormone replacement therapy. And if you are a trans woman as myself, being on HRT pretty much means going on estrogen and testosterone blockers. Estrogen is to help moving your female puberty through, giving you, breasts and so on. And testosterone blockers are to block the testosterone and stop the male attributes in showing. I don't know how you put it. But yeah, getting on estrogen and getting on testosterone blockers. And I am still on estrogen. However, I'm not on testosterone blockers because I've had the SRS, which is the bottom surgery. And after that, you don't need to go on testosterone blockers anymore because your body doesn't produce testosterone. So I'm just on estrogen and I am on Divigel, which is a gel that I put on every evening on my thighs to help me look like this. I am going to talk about the effects of the estrogen and testosterone blockers because I think that is pretty much important, and I know that many people ask for this kind of information. So when you go on estrogen, your face, hips, and body, breasts, everything changes, and also mood swings. Your mood kind of changes a lot. Yeah, I'm going to get into it, but At around 2 to 4 months, your first changes appeared, or that is what happened with me. I really started to notice a change in my face. I could see like the fat redistribution going on. I could see my face getting a rounder shape to it. I could really like effeminized my face. That is what I'm trying to say. And I kind of saw it around like the 2 to 4 month mark. And I also started noticing aches and like swellness, you know, around my breast area. I noticed something going on, but it didn't really, I mean, my breast didn't really grow until like the 6 to 12 month mark, but in the beginning it was just like swollen and so on. Also around this time I really started noticing my hips getting, you know, wider and my waist getting slimmer. Yeah, that took around like 18 months. And also what's important to remember, estrogen doesn't change your bone structure. I mean, it does if you do it very early on when you're like a child. However, when you're grown up, like me, I was 18, it doesn't really change, or anything doesn't really happen with your bone structure. So the bone structure that you have is the bone structure you're going to live with for the rest of your life. That is what happens, and it pretty much takes 3 years for everything to be fully complete in your female puberty. So yeah, that is what happens on estrogen. And this is going to be really hard to edit because I have no idea what I talked about, because that was a lot of information to cover in 2.5 minutes and I have no idea how I did. So it's going to be fun. But let's move on to number 8, I believe. No, number 7, I'm sorry. Number 7, and that is names, pronouns, and legal change. In Sweden, the government helps you with all of these things if you go through a gender therapist, which you have to in order to transition. And if your gender therapist accepts you, they will send a letter to the government, and then you just have to go on this website, you change your name to the name that you prefer, and then the government will change your legal as well, and then you can change your driver's license to fit the legal and your name and so on, and then everything's done. However, I'm not really sure how it works where you're from, because every country has its own rules and laws, so I'm not really sure how it works where you're from, but I'm pretty sure that you can just like Google it. Google is your friend. And also what I mean with pronouns, giving yourself new pronouns and making people around you use those pronouns are really important to our self-image. Like for me, I remember when my mom first called me Mathilda and she used the correct pronouns, it was just like so surreal and pretty weird. I remember laughing because yeah, it was pretty weird. It took some time getting used to. Having a new name and having new pronouns are really important to our self-image. So yeah, but let's move on to something else, and that is hair. Facial hair, hair on your head, and body hair. And that brings me to my collaboration with Catch Beauty. And as I talked about before, Catch Beauty sells IPL machines, and in the beginning of my transitioning, I went to a salon to remove unwanted facial hair. However, I never get around to remove my unwanted body hair. Last April, I believe, I started collaborating with Catch Beauty. Since then, I have used it to remove my unwanted body hair on my arms and my legs, and it works, okay? Trust me, it really works, or else I wouldn't have worked with them for such a long time, and it has helped my gender dysphoria so much. It's crazy. Like, I'm really smooth now. It's not 100% completely gone, but pretty much. How you use it, you just press this button right here and then press this button right here. You put it where you want to remove your unwanted body hair and you just press. There's going to be a bright light, so please don't look directly into it. Please don't look into the light. Okay, please don't. But yeah, if you want one yourself, and I truly recommend for you to go ahead and buy one. Maybe like a late Christmas gift, 1 month. Too late, but you know, it's never too late to give yourself gifts. But click the link in my description box or the top comment to get yourself a Catch Beauty's IPL machine. And yeah, you won't be disappointed, I promise. That is everything when it comes to body hair and facial hair. But now when it comes to the hair on your head. When I transitioned, I actually cut my hair right before I transitioned, which is just like, why did they even do that? Like, I wanted to have long hair, then why the hell would I cut it right before I transitioned? I don't know. I'm stupid. But if you want longer hair, remember to save it up before transitioning because it can take a long time to grow it out. So that's just a tip. If you want longer hair when you transition, remember to save it up before transitioning because it takes a long time to grow. So yeah, I'm just telling you because I was stupid enough to actually cut it. So it took like around 1 year into my transition until I had like this length. So yeah, let's move on to makeup and clothes. And I'm going to lay the truth, the cold, hard truth on you. Getting yourself a whole new wardrobe when you transition is expensive. It's expensive, okay? So the sooner the better. I mean, the sooner you start purchasing and like shopping and so on. And also, I was really lucky enough that some of my friends actually donated their old clothes to me when I transitioned, which is so nice and I appreciate it really much. And maybe you're lucky enough. I don't know. maybe they're not even the same size as you. But yeah, that's something that might happen. And also, it's not only in regards to the money that transitioning is hard when it comes to makeup and clothes. Like figuring out your entirely new style is pretty hard. It's a trial and error kind of situation. I transitioned and I didn't really, I mean, I kind of knew what I was into because I've always liked fashion and makeup and so on, but it was still hard, you know, going to the girls section for the first time and picking up things to buy. So the basics is pretty much given, like buy yourself very basic outfits at first and then, you know, as I said, it's a trial and error. And also going on Instagram or YouTube, following influencers or looking at their hauls and what they're wearing is also a tip that I did. I follow a lot of influencers, like fashion influencers, and I also, in the beginning when I transitioned, I looked at a lot of makeup tutorials. Just search everyday makeup tutorial on YouTube and you're going to find yourself so many helpful tips on how to do your makeup. The sooner the better you start shopping to your entirely new wardrobe. And also thrift stores are really good because they're cheap and also they have really great clothing in thrift stores. And also maybe a sibling or a friend can donate some of their old clothes if you're lucky enough. But yeah, that is some of the tips that I have when it comes to makeup and clothes. And now number 10, number 11, I'm not even sure anymore, but that is your voice. And there are two options when it comes to your voice, and that is a vocal coach or vocal surgery. And what I mean with your voice, it is basically how to speak more feminized, how to speak in a higher pitch. And I decided to go with a vocal coach because that is basically free here in Sweden if you are transgender. So I decided to go there because it was free, and it took around 4 months of training before my voice like naturally sounded more feminized before I spoke in a higher pitch. However, if you're not so keen on going to a vocal coach, you can go ahead and do vocal surgery, which basically means that you have an operation on your vocal cords that will force your voice to speak in a higher pitch, and that will basically feminize your voice. So yeah, you have two options, either go to a vocal coach or have a vocal surgery. I went to a vocal coach and it took around 4 months, as I said, to speak in a higher pitch. So yeah, but let's move on to number 11 or 12. I don't even know anymore. And that is surgeries. So there are plenty of surgeries that you can have done when you go through your transitioning. It's really up to you what you want to do. But I went through 3 procedures and I'm going to talk about them, but I'm also going to talk about procedures that are normally done or procedures that are common when you go through your transitioning. So the first procedure that I ever had done was a breast augmentation, and I had it around like 8-9 years ago, and it went with 230 cc in each breast. And the pain level when I woke up from the surgery was pretty tame. I was just like, is this all you got? Like, is this all you got? But when the medication wore off, when I got home, I could really feel the stretching and it was pretty painful. I also went with under the muscle to make it look more natural. However, it wasn't too painful because my breasts aren't really that huge. My doctor told me that 230 cc looks pretty natural and very like good to my body frame. So yeah, that is what I went with. And my second procedure I had done was my SRS, which is the bottom surgery, and that was really painful. From when I woke up to around 2 months later, it was real painful, okay? It took around like 6 hours, I believe, for them to make my new vajayjay. And yeah, it was real painful because you know what they do. And I was at the hospital for around 7 days. And when I got home, I started dilating. And for the people that don't know, dilating means putting kind of like an instrument, a dilation instrument, into your vajayjay to help it stay open. Because in the beginning, it wants to close up. So you need to dilate 3 times a day, 20 minutes each time. And it's a pain in your vajayjay. That is what I did, and you still pretty much need to dilate for the rest of your life. However, after a year or so, you only need to dilate once a week, and if you're, you know, having on a regular basis, you don't even have to do that. So it's just in the beginning you need to do it so often, but your doctor is going to let you know how often you need to do it and so on. But that is what dilation is all about, and it's really painful in the beginning, so just a heads up. It's painful in the beginning. But yeah, and I'm really happy with the results. I'm really happy how it looks like and how it feels like and so on. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But anyways, and the third procedure that I had done was also bottom surgery, but it was more like a fixer-upper kind of surgery. I had it 1 year after my first bottom surgery, and it was just a fixer-upper to make it look more pretty. But now I'm going to talk about the most common procedures that you can have done. And the first I'm going to talk about is facial feminization surgery, which is basically feminizing your face via surgery. If you're not happy with how it turned out after the HRT, and if you want to feminize your face further, you can go ahead and go to a doctor and have facial feminization surgery. And I never did, because I didn't feel the need to, and also because it wasn't free. Everything in Sweden is free when it comes to your transitioning. However, the facial feminization surgery isn't free, so I decided not to do it. And also, I didn't really feel the need to, and also I was a little bit scared of it. But if you want to, you can get it done. You can talk to your doctor about it. It really depends on your face, and it really depends on what you want. You can create a smaller chin, a smaller jaw. Your nose can be changed, your forehead. It's really up to you. But that is what a facial feminization surgery is. Also, you can remove your Adam's apple, which I didn't do either. However, I'm not so sure if I'm going to have it in the future, but I didn't want to have a visible scar at that age on my throat, because, you know, I have psoriasis and it makes the scars more visible and so on, so I decided not to do it. But you can remove your Adam's apple if you want to. And also, as I talked about before, vocal surgery. But yeah, that's all the surgeries that I'm going to talk about today. Let's move on to number 13, 14, I don't know. And that is the cost. It really depends on where you are in the world. Here in Sweden, everything is pretty much free when it comes to transitioning. That includes the gender therapist, the vocal coach, the SRS, the breast augmentation, the HRT. However, HRT is only free past a certain point, a certain amount of money, and that amount of money is $120. So if I purchase medicine for $120 in a year, everything past that point, rest of the year is going to be free. So that is how it works here in Sweden. However, I'm not so sure how it works where you're from. You can look it up on Google. Google is your friend, so just look it up. And I know that in some countries, such as the US, for example, transitioning can be really expensive, so that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, you just need to go on Google, look everything up in order to be able to, you know, transition if it costs money and so on. That was actually the last point for today, and that was a lot. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, but yeah, thank you so much if you watched to this point, and thank you so much to Catch Beauty for sponsoring this video. And if you're interested in purchasing one, click the link in the description box or the top comment. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.